This video is going to be about cancer. When you hear that word or even see it, I think a lot of people think about all the negative effects that cancer has on loved ones that they know, friends and family that have had to battle the disease. And we might even be affected by that within our own families and friends that we're close to. And you can think of all the bravery and courage that it takes to go through cancer treatments. But we're going to learn about cancer today and use knowledge as a weapon against it. And the hope is that we can learn what is happening at the cell level, since we've been learning about how cells normally function and do the things that allow us to survive and thrive. And then those cells divide. So we're going to take a look at that, how cancer works. It's actually an umbrella of diseases. And if you want to define it, there's a lot of different kinds that you've probably heard of. But as a general definition, cancer is a disease in which cells grow and divide uncontrollably, damaging the parts of the body around them. And that's a pretty fit definition of cancer. Here's a pretty good image that I think might explain things for you really well. I know it did for me. But when a healthy cell divides, usually this happens just perfectly. Once in a while you're going to get an injured cell that for some reason or another the DNA is affected and it does not do the jobs that it should be doing. At that point, our bodies usually do an awesome job of kind of saying, this cell is not going to function right, we need to self-destruct it. And it goes through something called apoptosis, which really is self-destruction of that cell that's not working properly. And that's a good thing, because then the healthy cells that need the nutrients and necessary things so that they can divide and do their jobs, then they can do that without being affected by the injured cells. What happens with cancer is different. Okay, there might be an injured cell, and for some reason or another, apoptosis, that self-destruction, doesn't occur. And this cell that is injured not only requires the nutrients and the things that every cell needs and they're taking away from, but they continue to grow and then divide uncontrollably. And soon enough you have a tumor or something that can really affect the whole body's health. You can think of cancer kind of like weeds in a garden. It robs the healthy thing that's supposed to grow, like your cells, or in a garden, a normal plant, robbing them of the space, sunlight, and water. Well, it's not sunlight when it's cancer, but they are getting robbed of the nutrients and the water and the space that they need to function well. This page has about 100 types of cancer listed here, and this is from cancer.org. Each one, for the most part, is named for the place in the body where they begin. So there, as you can see, there are a lot of different types of cancer, some more popular than others, some you will hear about more than others, but there are little differences within each one, and a lot of the differences are dependent on where they're coming from, and that's what they're named for. If we take a closer look at cancer just on the male side, here are the 3 most common cancers among men. Per 100,000 people, 128 men develop prostate cancer in a year. And then lung cancer is the next most popular cancer, and then colorectal cancer would come in 3rd place. So you can see what is more common. Now, of all the deaths of men that are caused by cancer, lung cancer is the most frequent cause of death. So it was the 2nd most prevalent, but the leading cause of death, at least in terms of cancer with men. Prostate comes behind that in 2nd, and colorectal again is in 3rd. named for where they come from here. For women, it's a little bit different. Breast cancer is the most common cancer among women, followed by lung cancer and then colorectal cancer for women. Leading cause of death, again, is lung cancer, so it's a little bit more deadly as it happens there, and followed by breast cancer and then colorectal cancer for females. All right, so what causes it? A lot of cancer research is geared toward exactly that. What is causing these cells to start to divide uncontrollably? Sometimes it's a genetic thing where someone's DNA is just more susceptible to those malfunctions that happen like that. I should say that our bodies do an outstanding job of combating cancer cells, even if they are there, and defeating those before you would even develop the disease. But yeah, genetics can be a cause, and sometimes it's just unknown. Another cause can be exposure to carcinogens. Carcinogens are like tobacco, for example, or sunlight exposure, sunlight radiation. Those are things that are known by scientists to cause cancer if you are exposed to too much of it. And even then, you're probably dependent on some of the genetics that you have within you, whether that cancer will actually develop. Here's how cancer begins here. First, something damages a portion of the DNA in a chromosome, causing it to change. So there's a mutation this is an injured cell. So a cell that has mutated or changed, and it doesn't perform the jobs that it's really supposed to. So that's where things start. There's a mutation. Soon enough, mutations disrupt the normal cell cycle, causing cells to divide in an uncontrolled way. You'll see these cells, they all look different from each other. They're dividing uncontrollably. Eventually that will lead to a tumor. So repeated divisions produce more and more abnormal cells. That's not normal. Until there is a tumor that you can see here. Another stage of development of this cancer is when it spreads. Okay, so some of the cancerous cells may break off the tumor, like these shown here, and when they enter the bloodstream, they can spread and then attach to other parts of the body. So that's something that's called metastasis. That's when cancer is spreading, and that's kind of how things would operate with cancer. So there's some things we can do to combat cancer, or treat it. And scientists are always looking for better ways to combat this disease and make it so that people don't have to suffer as much from the effects of the disease or the treatment themselves. One option is surgery, if they can take that tumor or that cancerous growth and completely take it out. That sometimes is an option. Some cancers it's not as possible to do that at this point. So you might have heard of some other treatments of cancer, including radiation, which is really sending high frequency, high energy waves of radiation to try to kill the cells that are growing or dividing the fastest. Remember, cancer cells are dividing uncontrollably, so if they can have treatments that target the cells that divide the most, that way that treatment will pinpoint the cancer more so than other cells in our body that don't divide as much. It's also why you might see like hair. Hair is something that grows and divides. The cells divide constantly. So you'll often see people going through cancer treatment lose that hair because it's really, those treatments are targeting fast dividing cells or frequently dividing cells. Chemotherapy is another thing, a treatment that we can use against cancer. That would be by use of medicines that are or chemicals that are traveling through our bloodstream. So it goes into our bloodstream and targets those bad cells, those cancer cells in our bodies. There's a number of things that we can try to do to limit carcinogens, or those things that cause cancer and can help us prevent it. A healthy diet of food with antioxidants and those type of healthy foods can really help prevent cancer. Also, like avoiding exposure to carcinogens such as smoking cigarettes and other things can really limit your chances of getting cancer. And then exposure to the sun can also be a carcinogen. So if you're in the sun way too much without sunscreen, that can be a bad thing that could cause cells to develop cancer. So that is it. Hopefully that helps you.